Hi, hello, and welcome to British English with me. Today we're going to be studying some very important aspects of English. We're talking about grammar now, and this is going to be another playlist where we're going to go through grammar properly. There are some people who say that you can't understand or learn English without grammar, but you've got to learn it because how are you going to be able to construct sentences and understand English? So it has to be learned. We're going to be talking about that book from Martin Hewins. This is advanced grammar in use from Cambridge. Okay, so this is a self-study reference and practice book for advanced learners of English. So let's go through the first unit. Let's read the lesson out loud and explain it at the same time, so pay attention. Before we start it, please subscribe to the channel to help English learners all over the world to understand English. We're not just reading it, but we're going to be reading it out loud so you can learn grammar and at the same time to understand how it is pronounced. Okay, so here we have unit 1. We're going from 0 now, right? We're talking about the present continuous and the present simple one. So we have simple forms and continuous forms. First, we're going to talk about state verbs. What are state verbs? State verbs are not action verbs. So we've got state verbs and we've got action verbs. Okay, this is section A. Let's go along together. We can use the present continuous ing forms with some state verbs, e.g. that means, for example, attract, like, look, love, sound. Those are state verbs. They're not action verbs. With those verbs, to emphasize that a situation is temporary or for a period of time around the present. Compare. Ella stays with us quite often. The children love having her here. So this is a state verb. The children love having her here. And Ella's with us at the moment. The children are loving having her here. So we can use the present continuous to emphasize that a situation is temporary or for a period of time around the present. State verbs, which we rarely use with the present continuous, include believe, consist of, doubt, own. Quite simple. Now let's go through section B. Some verbs have different meanings when they're used to talk about states and when they describe actions. With the state meanings, they usually take simple rather than continuous forms. With the action meanings, they may take simple or continuous forms, depending on context. Compare. The app doesn't appear to work on my phone. The app doesn't appear to work on my phone. This is a state verb. Appear in that case represents a state. Seem, for example, the app doesn't seem to work on my phone. It's a state, not an action. And, for example, Carly Robb is currently appearing in a musical on Broadway. Or she often appears in musicals. The verb to appear in that case represents an action, that is, to take part It's not in its state verb. In that case, we can use both the state form or the ing way to represent an action. Okay, let's continue with the lesson. We can also use this pattern with the verbs. Also with the verbs cost, expect, feel, fit, have, imagine, measure, think, and weigh. Okay, let's go to the next section. We're talking about mental state verbs. With some verbs describing mental states, e.g., find, realize, regret, think, understand, we can use the present continuous to emphasize that we have recently started to think about something, or that we're not sure about something. Compare. I regret that the company will have to be sold. That is, I've made the decision and I'm sorry about it. This is the simple form. And we can also use the ing form. I'm regretting my decision to give her the job. That is, I'm increasingly aware that it was the wrong decision. So we're using the ing form to emphasize that we have recently started to think about something or that we're not sure about something. When it means think carefully about, consider is only used with the present continuous. For example, he's considering taking early retirement. Not he considers taking early retirement. Because it means think carefully about. So only in the present continuous in that case. Okay, let's go on. Some other verbs describing preferences and mental states, e.g., agree, believe, conclude, know, prefer, are rarely used with the present continuous. So, for example, I believe you now, not I'm believing you now. Okay, let's go through the next section. We're talking now about performatives. This is section D. We use the present simple with verbs which perform the action they describe. These are called performatives. For example, I suggest you park outside the city and get the bus to the center. Another example, we request that you read the terms and conditions carefully before signing. We apply that pattern to the verbs. Also with those verbs, to acknowledge, admit, advise, apologize, beg, confess, congratulate, declare, deny, forbid, guarantee, name, order, permit, predict, promise, refuse, remind, request, thank, and warn. Some verbs used as performatives with the present simple in affirmative, that is, positive sentences. For example, apologize, deny, guarantee, promise, and suggest have a similar meaning with either the present simple or the present continuous in negative sentences. For example, I don't deny taking the books, but Miguel said it would be okay. Or I'm not denying taking the books, but Miguel said it would be okay. Modals are often used with performatives to make what we say more tentative or polite. We would advise you to arrive 2 hours before the flight leaves. also, I must beg you to keep this a secret. That's it for today. So we've talked about performatives, mental state verbs, and state verbs. So basically, what has to be taken into consideration is that we've got state verbs and we've got action verbs, talking about the present continuous and the present simple. That's it for today. It's not a long lesson, but I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you would like to go through that video again. Um, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be publishing new lessons about grammar so you can improve your English and bring it to the advanced level. That's it. I hope you've enjoyed it and wish you the best luck. Thank you for watching, and that's it. Cheers.